Domestic violence. Domestic violence can be distinguished as the direct or indirect, deliberate physical, psychological, or sexual impact resulting from actions or inactions, leading to disturbances in an individual's physical or mental well-being, pain, threatening their life, health, or personal honor and dignity. Domestic violence encompasses any physical, sexual, verbal, emotional, or economic abuse occurring within family relationships, partnerships, or past partnerships. Typically, the victims of domestic violence are individuals who are more vulnerable, such as women, children, the elderly, or those with disabilities. 4 categories of domestic violence are distinguished: physical, emotional, sexual, and economic violence. Physical violence involves the use of force and actions that inflict pain, health issues, jeopardize human life, limit freedom, and induce a state of helplessness. Emotional or psychological violence comprises specific intentional actions, verbal insults, emotional or psychological harm, causing damage to an individual's psychological and emotional state. Emotional violence may include, but is not restricted to, the following actions: bullying, continuous, unwarranted criticism, deliberate humiliation in public, confiscation of personal belongings, damaging them, unsubstantiated accusations, blackmail, persistent threats, stalking, that include unwanted physical and other forms of contact, such as calls, messages, and emails. Discrimination based on age, race, nationality, gender, or sexual orientation. Prohibition of meetings with friends and family, along with other actions, leading to psychological suffering. Sexual violence encompasses any unwanted sexual acts or threats to commit such acts. Sexual violence is not limited to rape, but also includes threats of sexual coercion, insults, unwanted comments about one's sexuality or appearance, and unwanted physical contact. In essence, it comprises all actions that degrade, humiliate, and make a person feel vulnerable. Economic violence relates to situations where the abuser manipulates their financial position to gain power over the victim. Economic violence can include, but is not restricted to, the following actions: concealing or misappropriating income, discouraging income generation, prohibiting employment, forcing to beg for money for essential needs, refusing to provide financial support for childcare, both within marriage and after divorce, hiding information about the actual family financial situation, allocating finances to the victim only when they meet the abuser's demands. Neglect or negligence, often referred to as child neglect, involves the continuous non-fulfillment or careless fulfillment of a child's essential physical, emotional, and social needs. Neglect may result in harm to the child's health or normal development, or put the child's life, health, or development at risk. For example, neglect can include neglecting a child's nutrition, safety, health, education, or even pushing the child out of the home, or forcing the child to steal or beg. How can we recognize signs of violence? Physical violence: bruises, scratches, and contusions. Fractures, bleeding, pain in specific body parts. Fear of other individuals, startling reactions when someone nearby cries. Fearful responses to sudden, unexpected movements or sounds by others. Aggressive behavior, anger, or withdrawal. Expressing a lack of sensation or laughing nervously. Compliant out of fear, passive, lacking initiative. Fear of parents or going home. Psychological violence. Psychosomatic complaints such as headaches, abdominal pain, nausea, and fainting. Low self-esteem and insecurity, leading to isolation. Speech disorders, including stuttering and difficulty speaking. A mismatch between a child's behavior and age, either too adult-like or too childish. Excessive submission, isolation, self-harm, heightened sensitivity, apathy, indifference, and depression. Bullying and aggressive behavior. Sexual violence. Fear and aversion to physical contact, especially for children, from adults, obsessive interest in sexual activity, secretive attempts to touch others, and demands for others to touch them. Dislike of one's own or the opposite sex and a negative body image. Complaints of pain or injury in intimate areas. Constantly touching or rubbing one's genitals, sometimes to the point of pain. Possessing age-inappropriate knowledge about sexual matters. Neglect. Poor physical development and weight loss. Lack of basic hygiene skills. Untidy appearance, appearing dirty or neglected. Persistent hunger. Inappropriate clothing for the child's size or the current season. Persistent fatigue, difficulty focusing. Stealing. Beside domestic violence, it is also important to recognize signs of violence in a workplace, usually referred to as mobbing. Workplace violence may involve insults, threats, physical and psychological aggression targeting employees, endangering their health, safety, and well-being. Such violence can originate from internal sources, such as supervisors and colleagues, as well as external sources, like customers. Workplace violence can manifest in various forms, including rude behavior, intent to harm, physical assaults, and verbal aggression. Please note that the information provided in this informational video may change due to variations in legislation. The production of this video is funded by the European Union Fund's 2014 to 2020 Action Program.